At Svavlamban 2025, the Indian Navy's flagship innovation and indigenization seminar, we at Chakra News saw something unmistakable. A new ecosystem of Indian startups, engineers, and naval veterans reshaping the future of maritime operations. Not in distant labs, but here on the ground with solutions built to solve real frontline problems. From machines that enter danger so humans don't, to life support systems reimagined from scratch, to underwater drones, stratospheric platforms, and helicopters on the brink of unmanned transformation, the pace of change is extraordinary. The first innovation that caught our attention was a product that moved from concept to frontline use in record time. A compact machine built to enter danger long before humans have to. It's part of a new wave of Indian naval technology, and we begin with a young team behind it. So I'm here at the stall section called Success Stories. Now this is a very special part of the exhibition. These are vendors, these are innovators, these are startups that have actually got orders from the Indian Navy. They've got AONs, they've got orders in their hands, and that's why they're called Success Stories. I have with me Sumit Hirawat, who's one of the partners of a company called Swadeshi, and he has a very interesting concept here. It's called a Firebot. A Firebot, it's a robot, it's a firefighting robot that's actually deployed on Indian warships. So, welcome to Chakra News.
Thank you.
Tell us what this Firebot is all about. How many of them are there?
There are 50 of them we have sold to the Indian Navy.
Right.
And like we were the first winners of IDEX contract.
Right.
This was the first winner which we have done this development.
Yes.
And it was really a sprint thing because in 13 days we signed the first contract. Then we have developed it really fast, and
Right.
then it was had a good application on INS Vikrant.
Okay. And how long did it take you to develop this? And is it completely IDDM? Is it
Yeah, it
Indian
is
developed?
Yeah, it is completely
Designed and
100%
manufactured.
Indian development.
Right, right.
Yeah, most of the parts which we are sourcing,
Right.
those companies have Indian subsidiaries here.
Okay. And what about the export potential of this? I mean, have you got any export inquiries?
Yeah, right now we are working on a few inquiries,
Right.
but like we are very busy with the Indian defense orders right now.
Right.
After the Indian Navy, even the Air Force has procured this 80 of them,
Right.
and the order is under production right now.
Right. And how has Svavlamban helped you to innovate and to produce this? I mean, give us an idea of why contests like this are so important for you.
Svavlamban and IDEX, this contests are very important because this gives us like direct interaction with the end users.
Right.
And if any problems are there, we are able to interact with them. In the busy schedule, it is very difficult to schedule meetings. But
Right.
all of them are at one stage, and we can meet them and we can understand new technologies. What is the requirement? What new things we can develop for them.
Right. And what next? What after this now? I mean, how do you take this innovation forward? I mean, would you, for instance, consider using it for other applications, like putting weapons on it, using it as an ambulance? We've seen them in the Russia-Ukraine war, for instance.
Yeah, we have also developing a few things. That is a mule where a person can be just put on the like
A stretcher.
stretcher type thing,
Right.
and then you can program it, and it will automatically go to that end place wherever it is
Right,
programmed
right.
to go.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's so good to see this, Sumit. An Indian company designing, developing, manufacturing an Indian solution. You just saw it here. You heard it from the man who's developed it. A Firebot, a very interesting Indian innovation. It's a firefighting robot with many more applications, and that's why innovations like this, contests like IDEX, exhibitions like Svavlamban are so important to bring out the Indian innovators and give them orders. Orders is what really matters. We've just seen how Indian startups are redesigning frontline firefighting, but innovation doesn't stop at robots. Sometimes the biggest leap forward comes from rethinking the basics. Now, in the close, airless spaces of a warship, even breathing can become a challenge during emergencies. And that's where another Indian team stepped in, shrinking an essential life-saving system into something completely new. Here's how they approached it. So I'm at the stall of Optrel India, and I have with me Anand Mohan, who's a naval veteran, and he's going to be explaining what he has over here. It's a very innovative firefighting solution. So Anand, welcome to Chakra News. Tell us what I'm looking at right here.
Right. So this is a portable respiratory system,
Right.
which is working on the principle of filtration. So
Right.
the regular breathable systems involve carrying a very bulky self-contained cylinder.
Right.
So which
Right. On your back.
on your shoulder. So
Right.
it's not only heavy, it has a limited time,
Right.
and it makes access to confined spaces very difficult.
Okay.
And in the time of emergencies, it's very difficult for a person to be using that.
Right.
And you need to quickly turn them around because the air gets exhausted.
Right.
So this works on the principle of filtration of
Yeah.
of the surrounding air,
Right.
and it gives very pure air for anybody who's involved working in any kind of contaminated environment.
So, Anand, how does a breathing set that's that big get compressed into something that's that small?
Yeah, so this is a very good example of innovative engineering.
Right.
So we have a very small and portable lithium-ion battery,
Right.
which can power this set for about 6 to 8 hours.
So this is a lithium-ion cell of the
Lithium-ion.
kind that I have in my cell phone.
Yes.
Right.
It's
Okay.
just a slightly higher capacity version.
Right.
There's a blower motor which is integrated inside this.
Right.
And there's a small filter,
Yes.
which is the basic technology associated with this system. It's an innovative filter.
Is it like a HEPA filter?
Yes, it's a combination of HEPA and activated carbon.
Right.
So this was developed specifically for the considering the Navy's specific requirements.
Okay.
And it has been certified to European standards and tested and
Right.
certified in the European laboratory.
Right. And I'm guessing that because you're here in the Success Stories Pavilion,
Yes.
means that you have got orders
Yes.
from the Navy.
So we were one of the earliest firms to complete the IDEX development.
Right.
And post development, the Navy placed an order for 1,000 sets of this,
Right.
which have been successfully executed within the contractual period.
1,000 sets
1,000
have
sets
already been delivered.
delivered to.
So, I mean, I've seen the utility of having something so compact and portable. Is it also cost efficient?
The ROI for this will be over a lifetime of about 2 years or 3 years.
Right.
It will be extremely cost efficient because there are a lot of costs associated with maintaining a self-contained breathing apparatus. You
Right.
need a charging apparatus, a breathing apparatus
Yes.
charging set, which
Right.
requires continuous operation to fill them up.
Right.
Few hours each set will take. On the contrary, this is just a lithium-ion battery which gets charged in 4 hours.
Right.
Similar to a mobile phone battery.
Right.
And you get 500 cycles out of this.
So instead of carrying your entire supply of oxygen on your back, you're using a filter, a very powerful filter, and you're filtering the air,
Yes.
and then you're using that.
Yes.
So it's a very innovative kind of a
Yes.
concept. But is the technology Indian? Can you, for instance, export this?
This has been developed specifically for Indian Navy's requirement.
Right.
So yes, we have also received the codification number for the NATO codification
Right.
from the Indian Navy who have helped us. So this can definitely be exported to other countries also.
Right. So, what is the importance of exhibitions like this, Svavlamban, IDEX, as an entrepreneur working with a defense startup?
There are two major advantages which I see. One is that interaction with the stakeholders,
Right.
which is the primary stakeholders for this program have been the Indian Navy, and interacting with all the stakeholders is a very important part of doing this development of systems
Right.
for the Navy.
Right.
And the second is to be in touch with further developments among other entrepreneurs who are also doing something. And we in fact have benefited by forging partnerships with some of the firms whom we interacted with during the previous versions of the Svavlamban.
Right.
So as part of the localization process,
Yes.
some of the firms have in fact turned out to be our suppliers now.
Oh, okay. So that's how, in the fourth edition, you've actually grown, you've
Yes.
built up your
Yes.
connections, your relationships.
Yes.
And that's why events like this are such a big, important part of the Make in India, the defense indigenization drive, the Atmanirbhar Bharat
Definitely.
program.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Anand.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. From fighting fires to making breathing safer in crisis zones, the pattern is clear. Indian innovators are reimagining naval safety from the inside out. But emergencies at sea aren't limited to what happens on the ship. Sometimes the danger is in the water itself. And our next innovation takes that challenge head on.
using speed and remote control to reach someone stranded far faster than a human ever could. Let's take a look.
So I'm in the stall of Saif Automations, SAIF, and I'm here with Ali Asgar, who's one of the co-founders of this company. Ali, welcome to Chakra News.
Thank you.
Tell us what this innovation is. And again, I'm guessing that because you're here in this part of the exhibition, it means that you have orders. What is it that I'm looking at here?
Yeah. Thank you first of all. This is a battery-powered self-propelled life buoy, and this product has been designed and developed along with the Indian Navy under the IDEX platform, and the Indian Navy with their requirement for saving a drowning person.
Right.
So normally you see you have a circular static life buoy, you throw it to a person, but
That's
now
right.
if the person is far away, you cannot send help to that person.
Right.
So now this is something which is self-propelled. It's got batteries, propulsion systems, radio communication. So if a person is drowning in water, you can just throw this in the water.
Right.
And with the help of remote, you can direct the person who's in distress. This is 10 times faster than a trained lifeguard.
Right.
To reach to the person almost speeds of 7 meters per second.
7 meters per second.
Yes.
Right.
And it can reach to that person and the person can hold on to this and you can get him back.
So it's like a surface skimming sled
Yes.
of kinds that you can just grab onto.
Yes. So this product has been developed, as I told you, along with the Indian Navy. So Indian Navy were our first customers.
Right.
In 2021, they placed an order of 180 units, which has been successfully delivered to them, and this is now on board all Indian naval ships.
Right.
And this is a typical dual-use technology, which even Raksha Mantri has said, and the Chief of the Naval Staff just mentioned that technologies for the defense side should proliferate into the civilian sector. So this
it's
is
like military-civil fusion.
Yes, a classic example of that. So this product has also been used to the municipal corporations like the government of Maharashtra, government of Gujarat.
Yes.
So they are also using this for saving. So we have been actually able to save 4 lives in a naval operation.
Right. Which operation was that?
That will be difficult for me to put it across in an open forum, but yes, they have saved.
Right.
And even in civilian operations of Maharashtra, we have actually been able to save 8 lives.
Right.
That is something really wonderful for us, because making a technology is one thing, but getting it working when it has to work is something which is
absolutely
really great.
the proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating. So there you have it, another great innovation here that's come out of IDEX and is here on display at Svavlamban. I'm here with Ali Asgar, who's one of the co-founders of Saif Seas, and as the name of the company suggests, they are all about making the seas safe for all mariners.
Thank you.
After exploring innovations that save lives on the surface, the next leap takes us beneath the waves. Now, India's maritime challenges don't end at the waterline. Now, a new generation of underwater systems is stepping in to map, sense, and navigate where humans can't. One startup has taken a diver-carried sensor stack and turned it into something far more capable. Let's meet the team behind this underwater breakthrough.
So I'm with Anirudh Dubey, who's one of the co-founders of CI4, and he has this very interesting underwater drone here. It's an underwater drone. It's a drone that moves underwater. But what are its unique applications? Anirudh, welcome to Chakra. Tell us what I'm looking at here.
So this is our underwater drone, like you said. It's called Echo.
Yes.
So the origins of this start with the IDEX project that we won. So Navy gave us the opportunity to develop a sensor stack, which integrates imaging, it integrates sonar, bathymetric sensors and everything. And this is currently carried by a diver. So given this opportunity, what we did after developing this tech stack, we decided to make it, repackage this into an autonomous underwater drone, which can be issued a mission, and this completes the entire thing and transmits the data. Yeah.
What's the propulsion of this? Do you have motors?
So this has 8 thrusters all in all, and it has full 6 degrees of freedom. So the system is super agile. It has all the sensors, of course, but it can also navigate very complex environments with everything built on board.
And because you're here in success stories, I'm assuming that you've already got orders and you've...
Yes.
How many are you at liberty to disclose numbers here?
Sure. So we have 5-time IDEX award winners.
Right.
Out of these 5, we've already completed 2, and this happens to be one of them. We also have something for radar cross section, which is a device right there.
Right.
But we just signed the contract for this, which is a little bit shy of 75 crores.
Right.
And we expect to deliver this in about 10 months or so.
Right. So, Anirudh, tell us about why Svavlamban is important, why IDEX is important, how does it fit into A, your company's aspirations, and B, this whole larger goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat?
So IDEX, starting with IDEX is very important because it gives us a framework. Companies like us who know how to build deep tech,
Right.
It channelizes us, gives us an opportunity to enter the defense market, which so far has been a very closed market, and
Yeah.
this is changing very rapidly. So this is where IDEX comes in. Svavlamban in particular is very interesting for us is because it puts us in direct contact with people
Right.
who are going to use these devices. So we understand the problems that they face,
Yeah.
the opportunities that exist, and
Right.
calibrate our company and its direction
Right.
towards addressing these requirements.
Right. And what about export orders? Is there potential export orders that you've lined up for this?
Yes, so we are looking at the export market very seriously, and we currently already have trials of this with 2 companies in the US,
Right.
which we're very confident will convert into a sale.
Right.
And we're also looking at the Western Europe and Latin America as a serious market for this.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anirudh, for your time. And
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
We've gone underwater, but the story of Indian innovation also stretches in the opposite direction, straight up into the stratosphere. As autonomous systems evolve in every domain, another Indian team is pushing the envelope at 20 kilometers above sea level, where no traditional drone or aircraft can stay for long. Now, their creation isn't quite a satellite, but it behaves like one, and in ways that could transform surveillance at sea forever. Here's a first look.
So I'm in the NewSpace exhibition area, and I am here with a very, very unique product. It's called the HAPS, or the High Altitude Pseudo-Satellite. I am here with Ashwin from NewSpace. Ashwin, tell us more about this. This is a product that I've never really seen. I've heard a lot about.
Yeah.
Tell us about its specs. What can it really do?
So the high altitude pseudo-satellite is not necessarily a satellite, but it is supposed to operate in the stratosphere,
Right.
20 kilometers high,
Yeah.
above the weather and the
20 kilometers?
20 kilometers,
Right.
above the traffic, the air traffic, etc.
Right.
So at 20 kilometers high, it is expected to give persistent surveillance.
Right.
What I mean to say is that to give continuous surveillance over 90 days.
Right. 90 days.
90 days.
This thing can be airborne for 90
Yes.
days.
So the current development cycle,
Yeah.
we have accomplished a solar flight
Right.
of 27 hours.
Right.
This was at an altitude about 10 kilometers.
Right. You have a working prototype of this?
Yes.
You have orders?
We are expecting the orders to follow now.
Right.
So we have delivered one program for the Indian Air Force,
Right.
where the flight was 27 hours.
Right.
Now we are creating an upgrade of this aircraft for the Navy
Right.
under the IDEX for a 48-hour flight and a meaningful payload of about 5 kilo.
Right.
So that it's able to survey across the distances that is
Right.
expected.
So, since we're here at a Indian Navy event, is this shipborne? Can it be launched from ships? How do you launch? How do you recover?
Yeah. So the current platform is a runway launch, so it requires a runway.
Yeah.
But the beauty of this aircraft is that it can be launched from the land and it can do large area surveillance. It can be deployed anywhere across the world.
Right.
Because it's a 90-day. It
Right.
can do 2 trips across the world.
2 trips across the
Yeah,
world.
so I mean,
have you
that's,
actually done 2 trips across the world?
I'm just from a distance,
Right. Right.
But the application is that to be able to deploy it anywhere across the world, to create nodes of these aircraft and do maritime surveillance and the larger Indian Ocean region.
Right.
etc.
Wide area surveillance and persistent surveillance, the God's eye view of the battle space.
And this is very cheap because the solar energy is free.
Right, right, absolutely. So this is what I'm looking at, the solar panels here on the top, and that's how it gets its
Yes.
energy for its batteries.
So it's a very simple, let's say, calculation. So the solar energy charges the battery
Right.
during the day, and the night operations is through the discharge of the battery.
Right.
And then when the morning comes, and then we're ready to charge again.
Right.
So therefore, this is a perpetual motion machine. So the limitation.
Perpetual motion machine. Interesting. Perpetual motion machine. This is something that could be literally the breakthrough, the game changer when you're talking of drones. This is like the mother and father of all drone technology. Thank you very much for your time, Ashwin.
Thank you, pleasure.
From long endurance aircraft watching the seas from above, we now come back to a machine every sailor and pilot already knows, the humble single engine Chetak. But this familiar workhorse may be on the brink of a dramatic transformation. Now, one naval aviator turned entrepreneur believes these aging helicopters can be reborn for new missions, safer, smarter, and even unmanned. His vision could change how India flies. Let's hear how.
So I'm with Captain Vishal Verma, who's the founder of Infiniti Aerospace. They're doing some exciting things with Chetak and Cheetah helicopters, and I'm curious about this. What exactly are you doing, Captain Verma?
So this actually flows back to my experience in the Indian Navy, and
You're an actor pilot.
yeah, I am a Chetak pilot seeking, and then I became a test pilot.
Right.
And I've flown about 25 types of aircraft. And when I was in the Navy, we lost some of our colleagues
Right.
while they were doing operations overseas. And all subsequent board of inquiries kind of pointed towards having a system on board Chetak. So while the French Navy continued having an emergency flotation system on the helicopter, the Indian Navy was not having it.
Right.
So we made certain efforts, but the foreign vendors, gave a very exorbitant cost for supplying this equipment.
Right.
And this is the HEFS.
Right.
And when I got out of the Navy and HAL, I decided that let us do something in-house for this
To
product.
save lives.
Yeah. So the issue is not just centric to Chetak or Cheetah.
Right.
As of now, we are seeking Kamovs, ALH, and MH60 Romeos.
Yes.
All have foreign emergency flotation devices, and Chetak does not have any. So we approached the Navy with a proposal to fit them and provide a solution for the Chetak helicopter, which even the Coast Guard is now very keen to acquire about 20 of them, or 15 to 20. The Navy requires about 40 of them.
Right.
And subsequently, our aim is to kind of become a provider or indigenous solution provider for these systems on indigenous or even foreign helicopters that we acquire.
Amazing. And you have orders for these from
Yeah,
the
so we are doing
services.
this IDEX program,
Right.
and which means we have to develop a prototype, show it to the Navy, and IDEX, and thereafter they have committed a 40 minimum order quantity, which means 40 sets, which is a good order quantity for this kind of a system.
Right.
So the last procurement was done for ALH, which was about 16 for Navy and 16 for Coast Guard, but they were all foreign made.
Right.
So the ultimate aim is to have an Indian substitute for this system and provide Chetak. If you really look at the larger ecosystem, the Pakistan Navy is flying with Chetak helicopters, and they have actually imported all available systems from France and everywhere else into their country. So I think it's a step towards safety and having an indigenous
step towards safety and indigenous systems, and most importantly, saving lives. But this is something that I want to ask you about: an unmanned autonomous system that's a Chetak and the NCAS, and this is a project that we've been hearing of for many years. I attempted to do this with the Indian Naval Chetaks, but are you also? Do you have a prototype of this?
No, we don't have a prototype, but I have to tell you the story of what was there earlier, what we dreamt of, and why we have not been able to do.
Right.
So that's my version. It may not be accurate because I do not have access to records and files. This is available on the internet to read on some. So NR UAV was the project, which was Naval Rotary Wing UAV. It was a project which was a multi-agency project involving Navy, HAL, ASTE, and I think Israel, and maybe a DRDO lab, ADE. But the program didn't really found esteem. One, that the program was a little ahead of time. Because the drone technology by then perhaps has not matured. And then there are too many stakeholders in one single program. And to us as a company, this idea flagged off when we were seeing these aircraft being kind of taken off the service strength. So we approached the Indian Navy and said that why don't you give these aircraft another lease of life? and this idea kind of allowed us to infuse another 15-20 years worth of life into them.
Right.
And if you look at West, Americans have done a matrix program on Sikorsky Black Hawk.
Yeah.
They are converting them into drones. The US Army bought about 1,000 of them, which are now ready for retiring.
Right.
And some of them have retired. The initial point was to convert them into civilian machines. Now they have started to convert them into drones.
Into drones.
And these drones I've seen, they can be flown from iPads.
Right.
So if you look at YouTube videos, there are passengers sitting behind with nobody in the front cockpit. Okay, and they are flying the drone from a iPad. So you know that this wave is going to come, and we want the country to lead ahead in this wave and not actually be 5 to 10 years behind, and then we come up again and say, oh, we should have done it at that point of time.
Right.
So
what's
what
the
we want?
prototype? When do you fly the first prototype of this?
So our aim is to fly not just the first prototype, but fly in Aero India 2027.
Right.
Without the
pilot, without
and remove the doors,
Right.
so that everybody sees that a ghost is flying the aircraft.
Right.
Yeah, but the advantages are quite. The list is quite huge,
Right.
because when you take out 3 crew, you are actually saving 270 kilos.
Right.
So you add whatever the existing capacity, maybe
Yes.
about 200. So you can actually carry 470 kgs.
Right.
Secondly, the Navy uses this aircraft up to 10,000 feet.
Right.
So if you notch it up to say 15,000, 20,000, because you don't require oxygen for unmanned aircraft, the radio horizon range increases, your communication ranges increases, and the engine is efficient at 15,000 feet.
Absolutely.
It gives you 4.5 hours of endurance at 45 knots. So which is a huge advantage. So what this aircraft can do in the future is do what MH-60 Romeo does for the Navy. So imagine a 12-ton aircraft being replaced by an aircraft which is almost going to a school or a museum piece,
Yes.
and we kind of reignite the life. I would also like to draw your attention to the Army Cheetah autonomous system.
Yes.
This is another dream that we want to fulfill, and I have been hearing of my course mates and other people in the army how weather is one of the greatest enemies at that altitude.
Yes.
And the earliest evacuation is possible in the next day, because that is the time the cheetahs can take off, or cheetal can take off and bring them back. That is primarily because of the restriction on the performance of the aircraft. As the temperature comes up, the performance drops. By night, obviously the pilots cannot fly. But if we convert them into unmanned, we take out 2 pilots, which is 90 plus 90, 180 kilos, and it can carry about 40 kilos, so we can carry about 220. So we can take out 2 casualties or 2 people who are having any medical condition from that altitude 24/7.
Right. So that's you're converting the cheetal into a drone again.
Yes.
What you've
Yes, because and these are homegrown aircraft.
Right.
The armed forces own about 400 plus of these machines.
Right.
These mixed with the manned versions is going to be a force in being, which is a very important concept of
Manned-unmanned teaming, as they say.
Manned unmanned teaming, plus the numbers actually are now we are increasing the numbers. And since this is homegrown, the manpower, technical manpower, technical know-how, infrastructure. So this is like the Maruti 800 for Indian Armed Forces, because they are in large numbers, available at every possible location and base in some form or the other, either Chetak or Cheetah. And homegrown, which means HAL can manufacture them in numbers and things like that. This can also be deployed in an armed version to support mechanized infantry, or you can suppose
there are multiple applications for this.
Armored as well as other things. So,
Right. So there you have it. The present and of course the future of the Indian Armed Forces coming out of innovations like this, startups, defense startups that have been energized by programs like IDEX and of course exhibitions like Svavlamban. And that's the reason we need to have more of such exhibitions, because they energize the Indian startup ecosystem, the Indian defense ecosystem, and Atmanirbhar Bharat cannot become a reality without companies like this, without innovators, without startups like this. And that's one of the reasons we have events like Svavlamban. This is Sandeep Punithan here from the venue of Svavlamban, the 4th edition of Svavlamban here at the Manekshaw Center here in New Delhi. Stay tuned on Chakra News for more updates on this.